Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to the second edition of Cyclops Mailbox, where I answer you guys' questions and hopefully you'll enjoy the video. All right, enough bullshitting. Let's do it. All right, now Pat asked on one of my little Penty reviews, did the Penty CEO kick my dog in the nuts or something because the review was pretty harsh? Pat, that's not true. The answer is, man, they can't all be winners. And the scope I got was a joke. It was a piece of junk. And I said that in my video. Without having sponsors and without being worried about sponsors, I can say anything I want to. And it's a hell of a lot easier to be truthful than to bullshit guys. All right, now Dan asked, why isn't my wife ever in the videos? There's occasions she's in the background, but generally it's like through a window or something like that. But she is not comfortable in front of the camera. She's more of a behind the scenes numbers type girl, and I'm more of a jump out, show my ass in front of everybody type dude. All right, now Air Power asks, what are the odds that some of these Chinese manufacturers are taking scopes that are left over from previous orders, rebranding them, and selling them as another scope? I'd say 100%. I very seriously doubt they're letting scopes just accumulate and not trying to cash in on them in some kind of way, whether it's on Amazon, eBay, or whatever. They're not going to sit around with a bunch of inventory and not be able to turn their money on it. And I think that's pretty much true for any manufacturer. All right, Jeremy asked, why is it I don't do the Nipple Twister, the really extreme tests that I do, on every scope? Jeremy, normally I save it for the more upscale scopes because the budget scopes generally, they just can't handle it. So that's the reason a lot of times on the budget scopes, I don't test them as hard or as thoroughly as I do the more premium scopes, because let's face it, if you're going to pay a premium price, you want to know that that scope will do anything you can throw at it. If it's a $300 scope, you just cross your fingers, it'll hold in there, try to take care of it, and hopefully it'll perform well out of the box and it'll keep performing for you. Now, Benny asks, is there something that I got against Vortex because you're starting to come out to look like the Yankee Marshal when you talk about Vortex? Benny, that's not the case, and I do not like being compared to the Yankee Marshal. I think he's one of these guys that likes drama for drama. I'm just the opposite. I'm the most boring person in the world. And the guys at Vortex, honestly, I just don't think they're offering as good a bang for the buck as they used to, and it seems like all of their lower end scopes, the quality has just been going downhill the last few years. That's just one guy's observation. Your mileage might vary. All right, Karlos asked me, how about another Hitler rant? I'll probably do another one of those here in the next few months, but honestly guys, when I do these Hitler rant videos, I can't monetize them, which money is not everything, but I always end up losing a lot of subscribers, and a lot of guys don't watch the videos, so my next couple of videos don't get recommended as much. So even though they're a blast for me, they kind of hurt my channel on the analytics a little bit. Now the analytics don't mean everything, but if I put the time in to do these videos, I do want guys to see them. So the Hitler rant videos, they kind of hurt my channel, but the next time I get a bug up my ass about something, I'll make another rant video. All right, now Samuel asked me, last video I talked about what I liked in the budget scope rings. What do you like in the upscale scope rings? These are the ones I like the best. These are made by American Rifle Company. You can find them through VALDADA. These things have one screw to hold it on the base, one screw to clamp it down, and when these things clamp down, they clamp down like a snapping turtle, and the little screws in them are not little screws, they're tough. When you jack around with as many scope rings as I do, and they have all of these little bitty screws, they end up getting stripped, cross-threaded, they just wear out or they break. Something like this is stout as hell and you're not going to tear it up. All right, Madman says you need to go back on your older videos and delete the dancing girls at the end of it. It pissed my wife off when she walked in and seen my video the other day. Dude, I can't go back and edit these videos once they're uploaded to YouTube. I'll no longer put that in there, but it's not so I don't hurt guys' feelings. It's because YouTube didn't like it for the algorithm, and they would age restrict all of these videos. As ridiculous as that sounds, they would age restrict it. That's the reason I quit doing it on my videos. All right, Terry said, on your scope reviews, why don't you list where the glass comes from, where the scopes are manufactured, and that type of thing? Terry, the thing is, listing where the glass comes from or where the scope is manufactured, that's great. And if it's a company like VALDADA, if it's a company like Smith Bender, Zeiss, Dedal, some of these other companies, you can count on they come from where they say they come from. But a lot of these other companies, they'll outsource it. So this week it may be made in Japan. Next year it could be made in the Philippines. The year after that, they can move it to China. Now with a lot of companies, I'm willing to stick my neck out because I know they're going to stick with the people that are building them for them, or they're making them themselves. I don't mind saying on those. Some of these other ones, I just kind of leave it up to you. You can do your own research, reach out to the companies, make sure where that scope is made right now, because it does change. All right, Larry asked, on some of my scope reviews, when I'm doing the turret values and they don't line up with what my target says, is it possible that I set it up wrong? Guys, when I go to the range, I take a lot of steps to make sure that the scope is exactly 100 yards from the target. I move everything around. Sometimes I have to go down to the target 4 or 5 times to get it exactly right, because it does no good to test if you're not going to use the correct measurements. As a matter of fact, the rangefinder that I use measures down to 1/10 of a yard. And where I measure from is from right in the center of the turrets on every single scope. I try to get it as close as I possibly can. Otherwise, the tests are useless. If I were just ballparking, it's around 100 yards. Sure, I could do the box test, the vertical test, but all the value tests would be basically useless. Now, while I don't take myself very seriously, I do take a lot of pride in the tests that I do at the range, and I want guys to be able to look at it and know this scope tracked this percentage accurate at 100 yards. Now, you can move that out further and further, but if it won't track at 100, damn sure it's not going to track at 1,000. But this gives guys some type of a reference point they can count on, or at least I hope they can count on. All right, now this is something I've got from numerous guys. They say you don't seem to have a problem with scopes that come out of China. Now, the guys that are complaining, I have no idea how you saw me without using a Chinese product, because your computer, phone, tablet, whatever it is, believe me, it came out of China. And if it didn't come out of China, the majority of the parts came out of China. It's just the way the world is right now. Stuff is coming out of China like crazy. It's cheaper to have it manufactured there. Sometimes it's not as good a quality. Sometimes it's really, really good quality. Where it comes from, I try not to get too hung up on it. Now, if it was a perfect world, I would love to see all these scopes coming from the United States. But the world being what it is, there's so much stuff comes out of China that I try not to let it bog down my channel, because I'm really not all about all of the government issues, the political issues, and everything else. I'm more trying to show guys what they can get for what price and the quality they can expect, and that's all. Oh, by the way, guys, if you notice this right here, a buddy of mine, Steve, made that and sent it to me, which I thought was super freaking cool. Thanks, Steve. All right, guys, I'm out of beer, but I do have a huge screwdriver. Just a second, let me take a sip. All right, Terry B asked me, you were talking about your favorite scope. What does it look like? Here it is. It's the VALDADA G2. You can go online and look at it. And you were also asking, is it heavy? Hell yes, it's heavy. It's one of the heaviest scopes I've ever had in my hands. But it's built for long-range precision shooting that you're not really concerned with the weight. If you're concerned with the weight, do not get a VALDADA G2, because you will be pissed off. It is super heavy, but the upside of this thing being super heavy, it is a tank, an absolute tank. It feels like a solid bar of aluminum. There is no way you're tearing something like this up. All right, Richard wanted to know what all I got coming on my channel. Now, I've got an AccuFire video coming up where I met with the factory, one of their LPVOs. I've got 2 new Blackhound LPVOs coming up. I've got the new VALDADA 6-24 second focal plane scope coming up. I've got a follow-up video on the Savage 223. I've had it for about 1.5 years now, and I'm going to tell guys about that and do that video here in the next few weeks. I'm also going to do a full video on these rifle rings. And by the way, I didn't get these things for free. I paid the same thing you would pay for them. And believe me, I can be cheap. But the fact that I was willing to spend this kind of money on these rifle rings should tell you a little something about it. And I also have a video that a lot of guys have been asking me to make. And that's the best precision scope for about $1,500. Now, I'm not going to stick dead on $1,500, but $1,500-ish. Now, this is definitely not going to be budget scope territory, but for a lot of guys that are wanting to get into long-range precision and don't have $3,000 or $4,000 to spend on a scope, I'm going to give you some really, really solid options that, believe me, you can count on. I also have some new scopes coming from VALDADA. Now, a lot of guys are familiar with the little 6-power prism scope that they make. It's very unique. These guys have also gotten into precision scopes and LPVOs. Now, these things are 100% made in Russia at one factory. Glass and metal come in one side, scopes come out the other side. They grind their own lenses. They treat their own lenses. They do all the machining, the manufacturing, the testing, everything. And these VALDADA scopes are something to freaking see. Now, I've been playing with them, but I haven't had a chance to go out and film with them yet because for me, they're a new scope line, and for you, they may be too. And because they're not a budget scope, I'm going to put them through the ringer before I recommend them to anybody. But a little sneak preview, they're bad to the bone. I mean, they absolutely kick ass. I can't wait to show you guys the videos that I've got coming on these things. I also have a few budget scopes coming that I think you guys will like. All right, guys, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you don't mind, share with your buddies, like, comment. If you're not already subscribed, make sure and subscribe. And I'll try to be back next week with some more answers to some more questions. If you have questions you want to ask me, leave them in the comments below, and I'll be back next week to answer them. It's a lot easier for me to use this format than to go through and answer all the questions that I get on all of the videos on YouTube. And for me, I enjoy doing this because it doesn't waste as much time as a live chat or a podcast, because half the time you're not sitting here watching me read a question or reply or get a drink or some dumb shit like that. I try to come up with a question, try to answer it quick as I can, and on to the next one, and try not to waste you guys' time. Thanks for watching, guys. It means more to me than you can ever know. See ya.